am Angela with Angie.Knows.Loans, and I have with me Debbie. She is a great realtor in the DFW
Yes.
area. So if you are looking, she is killing it. She can help you with those needs. I invited her on here because it's October. We are in the season of Halloween and spooky things. So I thought, why not put a spin on the Halloween season by incorporating real estate?
Yes.
So, Debbie, I asked her to do it. She was like, yes, I will help you. I sent her a house that we found in San
Yes.
Antonio. It is called the Gillespie Mansion, aka the Midget
Midget
Mansion.
mention.
So,
Yeah.
yeah. And so I'm like, is that like, should we be saying Little People Mansion now?
Oh,
Like for,
yeah.
right? Right. But I don't want to like change the folklore or the urban legend behind it. So,
Yeah.
anyways, I'm like, let's get into it. I don't know if you want to give a synopsis. I can give a synopsis of what I found and the different variations.
Yeah.
You let me know.
So basically, when I was reading the article, what I have discovered is that this was a mansion that was built in the 1920s or early 1900s. And there was a family. The husband was in the Navy. And
Yeah.
he was also, when I believe when he retired from the Navy, he became a businessman, and his business kind of crumbled, and he kind of just kind of went crazy. And I guess his business was declining, and he wasn't able to handle that, I guess, and he took it out on his family. He had a wife and he had a couple of kids, I believe. And one day he came in the house and went to town. Like, there's two different stories. One story is that he shot every family member, and then he shot himself. He killed himself. So it was like a murder suicide. The other story is that he came in the house and with a knife and threatened them, and I guess stabbed them and then dressed them in clean clothes. But it's two different stories, but all together, this house is located in San Antonio. So it's been a place that a lot of people have visited. A lot of high school kids have seen like ghosts, seen different, well, they've heard different sounds at night. So a lot of high school kids have camped out here just to do pranks, to get
Yeah.
the haunted house experience. But I will say that it's kind of crazy because if you read more into the article, they did talk about that it may not be a true narrative, that this is maybe a folk tale, that it may not even
Yeah.
be true. So it's crazy because now this place has been demolished and it has been revamped. It's on the medical district area, and now there's apartments there. So it's kind
Right.
of crazy how they knocked it down. But I wonder, if you live in the apartment, do you hear some of the sounds still? Like, because sometimes, even if something never happened, maybe ghost, or, you
Yeah.
just never know what actually happened here. So it's a quite interesting story.
Yeah, so so just to give people perspective of the house, it's a mansion, right?
Yes.
3 stories. The way I actually wrote down some of the descriptions, so we're gonna bring in your real estate expertise, but it
Yes.
said, it was a house that was originally built for average size humans, right? This
Yes.
guy comes in and he does some renovations, and he's like, all right, cool, we're gonna lower the ceilings and fixtures,
Yes.
lower doors. But the cool things about it has marble fireplaces in every room,
Mm-hmm.
enclosed glass breezeway that encircles the entire house. It said a Greek revival structure with an upstairs
Yes.
balcony as well as thick Corinthian columns. It had a ballroom, and let me see if I missed anything. No, I think those are the things that, oh, huge double doors that went into a
Mm-hmm.
library, a gigantic kitchen, and living area with lots of windows. So it sounds, oh, and it's on like, I don't know if you got to, they like, I saw a picture of it where it looked like it was at the top of a hill on a bunch of land.
Yeah.
So as a real estate agent, you can't, somebody's like, hey, I got this property for you, right? It's a mansion, and they tell you all of these great things. Like, what's going through your mind just from the description of it? Are you like, this is going to be a really great sell? Like, what are your thoughts? How are you selling this before you even find out the other stuff?
Well, I'm gonna think it's a luxury in property. I'm going to go for a high luxury in client, because when you talk about everything that the house has as far as marble floors, everything that he put into the property, if I was reselling this property, I would be doing everything I can as far as my marketing skills to try to get it out there to the high end clients for sure.
Yeah. Yeah. I just thought I was like, man, this house seems so beautiful. Now, do you ever have you come across a property where there were modifications done due to someone's I don't I guess disability, like if it's a person that's in a wheelchair and you see like a lot of the stuff in the home that have been formatted for that, does that impact the resale value?
It can. So
Mhm.
you do have handicap accessibility homes, and a lot of times that is going to gear to a specific client. You can
Mhm.
see a little minor, decrease in value here and there, but if the house has marble floors and great ceilings, I mean, it should stand on the same market value for sure.
Yeah. Yeah, and I was thinking like you can always fix because I think they said that they lowered like the doors and stuff like that. I'm like, you can always I feel like fix that. I feel
Yeah,
like that
so
wouldn't be such a
that would definitely hinder, to the average buyer, I would say, because most people are not, they're not little people. So that's something that we would have to negotiate in price with the seller. Like, hey,
Mhm.
we do need to incorporate, construction labor costs as far as raising those doors back up or raising those ceilings. So I would say that it could hinder the price a little bit, where we would have to strategize on how to place the correct offer on that property.
Yeah. So, okay. So now something I want to ask. So now they tell you like, okay, this is the house, but then they're like, hey, there's something you need to know. You know, um
Oh,
there's
yeah.
been, yeah, like after the fact, like there's always been let's say it was like a great grandkid that's trying to
Yeah.
sell the property and they're like, we've always heard, um we feel like there's paranormal activity going on in the house. There was a murder, suicide in this house, if that's the story we're going to. The other variation, sorry, ADD, the other variation that I saw was the servants. So the owner, because he was a little person, he had modified the house. He had resentment towards average height humans.
People
He
and
hired
treated them a
yeah,
certain way. Yes.
yes, yes. And so he hired servants and he would force them to live in this house that had been modified, and would treat them cruelly. And so they essentially came in and I saw
Haunted.
poisoned,
Yeah.
shot, whatever, and then set it on fire.
Yeah.
So um I'm like, I had to come back, but anyways,
Yeah.
so they tell you all of these things have happened in the house has still got good bones, though it just has this history. So as a real estate agent, what are you required to disclose or not disclose when it comes to that kind of stuff? Yeah.
So you're not required to disclose that there has been a murder at the property, but if you're specifically asked, like, hey, was there a murder at this house? Did someone pass away? Was there a fire, or um is it a haunted house? Now you have to disclose those things, but I don't have to advertise that there was a murder scene at this particular property. And a lot of times, if you were to advertise those things, it will hinder the value, and it will hinder, your showings for sure. You may get a lot of online clicks because a lot of people will be interested, like, oh, this is the haunted house, this is the place that the family passed away. So you will
Yeah.
get a lot of views that way, but as far as a lot of traffic of buyers being very interested in the property, it will probably be less than the average home for this particular house.
Yeah, I will tell you, just for me, like, I don't want to know. You know what I mean? Like if
Yeah.
if
Oh,
if
yeah.
someone passed away in the house, like
Yes.
I don't want to know, because then after that, my mind is thinking like I hear a creak. It could just be foundation because we're in Texas, and now I'm
Yes.
like, you know,
Yes.
who's in my house?
Yes, for sure.
you know, have you ever run into a scenario where there was a house that had some stuff or? No, I'm just
Oh
nosy.
yeah, I've showed a couple of houses where um it wasn't even on the MLS. The client told me like, "Hey, we did a little research and we found
Mm,
out online that, someone died here." And you just kind of have to be quick on your feet to kind of let them know, hey, this did happen, but it's going to be totally up to your discretion if you feel comfortable. But yeah,
right.
that has happened for to me before. But I will say they did not make an offer on that house.
Okay.
so,
Yeah.
so
I was gonna say,
that
mm,
yeah.
I wouldn't. Okay. So, something else I discovered when I was, looking at all the different stories was they had children, but if they were all murdered, that would lead me to think that there's no one that they would pass the property on to, right?
Mhm.
So, what happens? Like, what happens when a house is essentially abandoned because, let's say it's paid free and clear, there's no mortgage, and the owners pass away without doing a will or like passing it on to someone in their family because there is no family. Do you know like what happens in that regard?
Well, it will definitely still go through probate court, but
Mhm.
eventually, if there's no one to claim the property, it'll just return back to the government, to the state.
Mm,
Yep.
yeah. See, that's why it's important you guys
Yeah.
get wills and trusts and all that stuff.
Yes. It's
Because
very important. Yes. And it's
yeah, because
very
I'm thinking about
important.
that.
Yeah, so it's very important to have a trust in place regardless, because even if you have a will, sometimes those can be fabricated, they can be lost, or it can be he say, she
Mhm.
say. A trust locks it in. This is where the property is going to, this is who has the rights. Even if
Mm.
you're married, you need a trust. Even if
Yeah.
you are married and you have, say, for instance, a previous marriage and there's previous children, you definitely need a trust, because that's the number one thing that causes conflict in families is when someone passes away, where are the assets going to be, where they're going to be distributed to. So
Yeah.
it's very important to have trust. It's okay to have a will, but trust is going to be the most important thing to protect your assets and your estate.
Yeah. That's good, because I do not have that. So I have
Yeah.
all the beneficiaries set up on the stuff like life
Oh yeah.
insurance, who it goes to and stuff like that, but I feel like I need to get on that because my folks and my sibling my sister, they're gonna be like, Angela, why would you do this to us? Like now we got to
Oh
work to like handle your affairs. So I need to thank you for the reminder. I feel like I need to do like a series on that as well. Maybe. Hey, maybe you want to do it
oh
too?
yeah,
All right.
because for sure, like even when it
Yeah.
comes to insurance, a lot of people don't understand that insurance is going to be one of your biggest protections, even if you wanted to put your home into an insurance policy like that. It's so many layers to it, where you can protect yourself from getting sued. If you have a
Mm,
business and you own a house and someone wants to sue you, if it's locked into a trust and an insurance policy owns it,
yeah.
it's really hard to sue you. So, but it's so many layers
Look,
that
I'm
we can
putting
get
this.
into.
I'm making my notes. Debbie Trust Insurance, so we can because the people need to know, And
Yeah,
when I
for
say
sure.
people, aka me.
Oh yeah, for sure.
Okay, so I saw okay, let me just make sure went over the variations of what happened. Okay, so I do want to follow because you mentioned this like uh, I saw, where there's an apartment complex now built in that space. We talked about
Mhm.
that. Um and some of the people were like, it's fine, like it's just, apartment complex and I'm like, but then other people were like, if there's a spirit and you're saying that there's paranormal activity, like who's to say that it's not in that same
Area.
space? Like
Hmm.
I wouldn't again, I don't want to know, but I also would not knowingly, even if it's an urban legend, just even if it's like this may have happened, we're not 100% sure. I'm good. Like
Yeah.
leave me out of it, or you got to make that property really, really cheap because,
Yes, for sure.
you know. so, So something else. So like in the variations of the stories, I know you had talked about they had like redressed them, put them in new clothes, and then
Yeah.
stuck them in a closet. I was like, they were saying that in the house when people would sell it because the house kept selling quickly.
Hmm.
Um, Now, okay, in the real estate realm, well, I was gonna say they had fresh marks in the closet, so that's why people like would sell. They'd say they hear moaning and all that kind of stuff. So,
Yeah.
if is it a red flag on a house if a house turns over quickly multiple times?
For sure, because you're going to want to know what is going on with this property. Why
Right.
is everyone keep moving in and moving out?
Yeah.
Especially, I
Yeah.
forgot that movie. You need to watch. I think I forgot the name of the movie. It's on Netflix, but it was this house that everyone was obsessed with, but it just shows you that people are going to do their research, and
Yeah.
it's not a good look, and it's definitely a red flag when you see someone move in for like 3 months or 2 months and this is happening 3 or 4 times a year. It
Yeah.
definitely has a stigma, and I would believe whatever that person told me is going on at that house. I would for sure believe them. I would run the other way for sure.
Oh yeah, like, and I'm like, I never even thought about that, but then I'm like, yeah, if you see it's listed for sale,
Yeah.
listed for sale, like, what is happening, you
Yeah.
guys? No. Um, so something I saw again, we've been looking at the story, we've been
Yeah.
researching it. So I went down a Reddit, you know, tunnel, right? A thread.
Yeah.
And they said that, you know, they do believe it's an urban legend, but they feel like it could be derived from the story of this guy named George Hassel.
Hmm.
So he has a very similar story. He's in uh, Farewell, Texas, or something like that. But basically, he got in an argument with his wife for impregnating his underage niece slash daughter. So wait, right. So the guy's brother passed away. He marries his widow. So that's how it's the daughter, niece, whatever. Anyways, so they get in an argument about that. He murders her, and they have. Yes, he murdered
Okay.
his wife and then had 7 other kids that he went to go murder from age 1 through, I think they said 21. So
Oh wow.
he basically started with the youngest and went up. And then with the 2 oldest sons, or the next 2 oldest, um, they were putting up a fight. So he ended up like shooting them or using an
Oh
axe to
wow.
kill them. Right. And like murdered everybody. So here's the other part is that he moved all the bodies into his root cellar. And the last son was at working age and he was away from the house working. He'd be back in a few days. So he just kind of cleaned up everything. Son comes home. He's like, hey, where's everybody at? They're like, oh, or not they. He's like, oh, they went to go visit your aunt. He's like, cool. They cook dinner. They're like, yeah, let's, just chatting up. They both go to
Yeah.
bed. Oh, boy's like, he had to get whiskey in his system so he could kill again.
Oh
And
my
he, in the
God.
middle of the night, shoots his son in the head and stores him in the cellar too. And apparently, the way that they found out was he had attempted to kill himself and
Mm.
failed. And then the excavators had come, they found all the bodies in the cellar. They're like, whoa, what's going on? And then also, he confesses that he had a whole other family under a different name. That was 5 people that he had all murdered because they got into it. Him and his wife at that point got into it because they were deciding whether he was going to go to war for World War I.
Mm.
I'm like, so in all, he killed 13 people. Like, this is crazy. So, anyways, it was all around the 1920s. So they're
That's
like, this could
crazy.
be in Texas, similar kind of concept story. Either way, I was like, this is wild. Like,
Yeah, that is
I
crazy.
literally texted you and I was like, this is crazy.
Yeah, it's
This
very
is,
crazy.
it is. But that's it. I don't know if you have any other, I'm trying to see if I have any other thoughts, but did you
Yeah,
have anything else?
I do feel like we have to educate on ourselves on like haunted houses and areas that are speculative, because I will say there's a lot of property. A lot of times builders will buy an old cemetery and clear it out and build over there, and it's been times build over the land, and I it's a lot of times that people just could not figure out what was going on. Like like they just weird stuff like what happened to their property in that
Yeah.
area. So you just never know, because the land has been here longer than all of us and any of us. I mean, God created everything.
Right.
So you never know like where the houses that we live in,
That is
you
crazy.
know, what happened on that land prior to us. You know, it just goes to show you that history is just so crazy, and to learn these things is always interesting. So
Yeah. So, okay. And I'm thinking, okay, as a realtor, do you go back that far? Like, are you looking, or are you just kind of saying, like, when was this house built? I mean, of course, you have to look at when was it built, but is that something that y'all are looking at, or y'all just kind of like, hey, this is where the value's at. This is the history of it based off
I
of,
would
because I
say
know
more
y'all have
so
access to a lot more.
I would say more so for like historical places. If it's a historical site and it's a crazy amount in value, your clients are gonna want to know the history of it. They're gonna know, why is this place so special?
Yeah.
The origination, has happened in this area for this property to have so much value. I would say for
Yeah.
new construction, it's not as much, because it may be farmland, and so
Hmm.
usually the builder probably bought it from a farmer, or it's some untouched land. So a lot of times the buyers are not as curious. The only thing that they're curious about, what is coming to the area, because
Right.
there's
Yeah.
nothing here. So the houses are here, but there's no businesses, there's no schools. And then you'll see the houses usually go first, and then you see the schools, then you see businesses, then you see the Starbucks, the Chick-fil-A. You see all of that developing
Yeah.
around, but the houses come first. So, but I would say more so for like historical sites, especially if it's by downtown, or if it's by a specific college. You
Yeah.
will see that clients are more intrigued, like, hey, you know, who went to this school? What was accomplished at this school? Like, what happened in this area? Is there
Yeah.
anything that was historical that meant a lot for this property? And those houses can go up to millions of dollars, and they can be
Mm.
1,200 square feet. It just depends on the
I need
area for
to get ready
sure.
to become like historical. Like,
Yes.
I need it to become historical. I don't know what needs to happen, but no, I'm
Oh
just kidding.
yeah, for sure.
Um, okay, so tell us a little bit about you. What are your expertise? So that we can end out on that, letting people know that you are great. I already said you're great,
Oh
but
yeah.
I'll let you do a little spill and then we'll end it out.
Oh yeah, so I am Debbie. My first name is Deviasha, but I go by Debbie for short because it is very complicated to say my name. I am married. I have been in DFW going on, I want to say 9 years. I have been a realtor for 7. And I've been a broker for 1 year. Next year will be 2 years. So I've been in the game quite some time. I'm
Yeah,
highly experienced with first time home buyers, but I do love my investors, and I love working with sellers, because you know, investors know what they want, they know the numbers. But I am not biased to anyone. I will work with rental clients, I will work with commercial clients, but my main expertise is first time home buyers, and I work with a lot of sellers and investors. So that's the culprit of my business. I love to give back, I love to work into the community. So
um,
that's just a lot of, you know, of who I am. I'm a very nice person, but I have heavy negotiation skills. So if we have a property that you really want, and you want to get your rate to be bought down, if you need some closing costs, whatever you need, I'm going to be that person for you. I'm going to hold your hand. I'm the person that always has my phone now. Just respect, you know, after like 9, 10 o'clock, I do want to shut my day down, but I'm always readily available. I'm someone that, you know, you can call and, you know, express what you're going through, and we're going to get through it. If I don't have the answer, I'm definitely going to find the answer for you. So yeah.
yeah, and I will say she's very patient. She's not
Yeah.
like, she works with her clients, tries to understand their needs. She's not someone
Yes.
that's just going to be like, hurry up. She's
Yeah.
like, hey, I got you guys. I'm going to walk you through this process. So,
Yes, I
um,
really appreciate it.
thank you so much for being my first victim on this.
Yes.
Like,
Yes.
I'm so excited. I enjoyed it. Again, thank you for indulging me, because I had this idea and I literally hit her up and I was like, hey, it's last minute, but
Yeah.
You wanna help me out, so thank you,
Thank
and
you for
I'll see you
having me.
soon.
Let's do it like
Yeah.
once or twice a month, just change the different topics and everything. So,
I would no, like, for real.
yeah.
Done and done.
Okay. All right.
Alright.
Thank
Talk to you
you,
soon.
Angie. All right.